with the recent developments, the order is changing in the way people are thinking and behaving, and the rule of might is prevailing. And particularly India, we have troubled neighbors on all our sides. So this might change the way they act and behave. How do you plan to address this going forward?
That's a very big question. It's a very big question. I'll tell you why. Partly, you are now saying, okay, the state of the world itself is different. But then you're also saying, okay, now take the state of the world and bring it to the neighborhood, and how does it impact on it? And if you look at the neighborhood, we have a number of neighbors, and actually each one of them is very different from the others. So I would invert my, I would start really from the neighborhood. And if you look at the neighborhood, and I'm looking at my own sort of activities there, we had recently a very big natural disaster in our neighborhood in Sri Lanka. A cyclone which was almost unprecedented in the damage that it did to Sri Lanka. On the very day that the cyclone started early in the morning, by that afternoon, our forces were there, which it also happened we had 2 ships in Colombo at that time. But apart from those ships, by that day our forces were there. We were deeply involved in the search and rescue operations as it intensified in providing relief to people, and then within literally a few days, I was sent by Prime Minister Modi to offer them a kind of a rebuilding recovery package of a very substantial size. Now, I'm starting there because whether it was what happened in Sri Lanka or what happened a few months earlier in Myanmar, there was a very bad earthquake. And because of the state of affairs in Myanmar, actually it's very sad. Very few countries came forward to help. We were one of them, and we had actually a military hospital set up literally in a matter of days, and our search and rescue teams went out there, and what external assistance came, a very large part of it came from India. If I were to switch you to a different direction, unfortunately an earthquake happened in Afghanistan as well. And even in Afghanistan, we were literally the first country, though the logistics to Afghanistan were very complicated, but we were the first country to respond. They had 2 earthquakes, one closer to the Pakistan border, the other more to the north. On both occasions we were out there. Now I'm citing this to you as an example that if you look at the neighborhood today, unfortunately in the world, it can be conflict, it can be natural disasters, it can be climate events, it can be COVID, it can be pandemic, it can be something which you and I cannot imagine today. When big problems happen to countries and they do not have the capacity to cope with it, they naturally turn to those who do. And in our region, there is a growing belief that the country which can be relied upon in this regard is India. That belief has come out of experience of a certain number of years. I mean, it was not automatically there. It happened because when COVID pandemic took place, almost every one of our neighboring countries got their first vaccines from us. When the Ukraine war started, and many countries found that their energy supplies were cut off or became too expensive, or their wheat, because Ukraine was a very major exporter of wheat, that wheat supplies got disrupted. It was we who stepped forward, even for supply of fertilizers. So over a period of time, this belief has grown in our neighborhood. I can tell you, when I travel in the neighborhood and I look even more than the government, and the attitude of the public, that is something the public responds to. Apart from that, we ourselves feel that, look, we are the biggest country, we are the biggest economy. It's in our interest that the neighborhood works more closely with us. So we have actually today in fact not today, for the last 10, 12 years, we have supported a very, very extensive, logistical I would say connectivity with our neighborhood, and that kind, you all live in Europe today. Europe was not the way it was, the way it is now, I've seen a Europe 30, 40 years before, where it was not that easy traveling from one country to another. Somebody invested in the roads, somebody invested in the trains, somebody invested in making Europe so seamless as it is possible today. That is in our interest in the Indian subcontinent, in South Asia to do, and that is what we are trying to do. If you travel today, want to go to Nepal, or you want goods to go to Bangladesh, or find a way of going to Sri Lanka, most of these are actually underwritten by us in some form or the other. Now,